Jos Verstappen is taking every opportunity to humiliate Christian Horner, this time blaming Red Bull's ongoing mass exodus on the team principal. Frustrated with the internal turmoil and performance issues affecting his son Max Verstappen's legacy, Jos is not shutting up this time. Let's hear him out. Jos Verstappen is rubbing it in everyone's faces that the departure of several key figures from the Red Bull F1 team is exactly what he'd warned about earlier this year. At the beginning of the year, the father of three-time world champion Max Verstappen stated that the team risks falling apart as long as Christian Horner remains team principal, following accusations of inappropriate and controlling behaviour by a female employee. And now, it seems like his words are coming to fruition. Since Jos Verstappen's comment, it has been confirmed that 3 senior Red Bull figures will be leaving the team in the coming months. Chief Technical Officer Adrian Newey is set to join Aston Martin on March 1st. Sporting Director Jonathan Wheatley will take over as Audi's new team principal by mid-next year. On top of that, Red Bull's head of race strategy, Will Courtney, is leaving to join McLaren as their new sporting director. Courtney had been with Red Bull for over 2 decades, having originally joined when the team raced under the Jaguar banner. When asked about yet another veteran team member leaving Red Bull Racing, Verstappen responded to motorsport.com during the East Belgian rally last weekend. "Yes, this is what I warned about." The team then says, "Oh, it doesn't matter. We have someone else who we can put on that position, but it's too many people now leaving. And Max gets questions about it every time and so on. So yeah, I think it's just not good what's happening at the moment." Horner, who was cleared of the inappropriate behaviour allegations following an internal investigation by an independent lawyer, has repeatedly claims that Red Bull has enough depth to manage the loss of any individual. But Verstappen Sr. believes that he, Horner, always glosses over it. On track, things haven't been going well for Red Bull for some time. Although Verstappen won 7 of the first 10 races of the 2024 season, he has now gone winless for 8 consecutive races. At the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, McLaren overtook Red Bull in the constructors' standings. Verstappen's lead in the Drivers' Championship has since narrowed to 52 points after Lando Norris dominated the race in Singapore. Former Haas principal Guenther Steiner has piled onto the pressure, warning Christian Horner that his role as Red Bull team principal could become vulnerable if the team's struggles continue. With plenty of pressure mounting, Red Bull is preparing an upgrade package for the upcoming United States Grand Prix. Despite dominating the first half of the season, they are now winless in 8 races and find themselves 41 points behind Constructors' Championship leaders, McLaren. The defending champions' recent struggles, coupled with internal unrest and the departures of key figures like Adrian Newey, Jonathan Wheatley and Will Courtney, have fueled speculation about Christian Horner's future as Red Bull's team leader. Speaking on the Red Flags podcast, former Haas boss Guenther Steiner weighed in on Horner's position, saying, "Absolutely. When you're winning, whatever you do is okay. When you stop winning, you get vulnerable. Your bulletproof jacket gets thinner and thinner. If more bullets are shot, at some stage defending yourself is difficult." Former F1 driver Felipe Massa believes that the infighting and internal politics at Red Bull have destabilised the team and impacted Max Verstappen's attempt to defend his driver's title this season. Sharing his thoughts on the ongoing situation, the former Ferrari driver told Racing News 365, "It's amazing. What's happening in this year's championship after what happened at the beginning is what everyone wants to see in Formula One. Many teams fighting for victory, many drivers fighting for victory. We are at the point where we still have 6 races to go and everything can happen. We have a team like McLaren doing an amazing job, which is the strongest team now, which could maybe change the result of the championship, both championships. It will not be easy on the driver's side. Max is very strong, a massive talent, a great driver. But what's happening inside the team is not nice as well because politics doesn't help. Fights and politics don't help the work of the people inside the team. But on the driver's side, Max should win. On the team side, I don't think so. I really believe McLaren can win the championship." When asked if he thought internal politics could destabilise a team, especially given his experience driving for a team like Ferrari, Massa responded, "It doesn't help. Every fight, every politic inside a team doesn't help. I'm not inside the Red Bull team. I cannot say exactly. It's just things that you hear. I don't know exactly everything, but it is not helping." Their reputation has taken an even bigger hit with the recent sacking of Daniel Ricciardo, which has led Red Bull motorsport consultant Helmut Marko to step up and defend the team against criticism regarding its handling of the Australian's dismissal. Just 4 days after Ricciardo's emotional exit following the Singapore Grand Prix, the RB team announced that Liam Lawson would replace him effective immediately. During the event, RB team principal Laurent Mekies mentioned that the team would assess their driver's performance after the race weekend. But Ricciardo's demeanour following the race suggested he was already aware of his fate, and Lawson disclosed that he had been informed of the team's plan 2 weeks prior. Marco defended how Red Bull managed Ricciardo's exit, stating that the announcement of his departure was delayed until after the race for compelling reasons related to commercial agreements. He said, "Ricciardo was informed in good time, and, to put it in his own words, he is at peace with himself." Marco justified the team's decision to let Ricciardo go by stating that he had the opportunity to prove he was fast enough to replace Sergio Perez at Red Bull, but his performances did not meet expectations. He shared these thoughts with Speedweek, a publication owned by Red Bull. He was given a second chance that no one else would have given him, and that was under the premise that a return to Red Bull racing was possible if he performed well enough. Ricciardo made his return to F1 with RB last year when the team was still known as AlphaTauri, but he had to miss 5 races due to a wrist injury. Even though he was let go before completing his first full season, Marco stated that his time with the team was always intended as a stopover. But the necessary performance only came twice, once with a 4th place in the Miami Sprint race this year and last year in Mexico, he added. Otherwise, that speed was not there, and the consistency was not there either. The whole performance that would have justified a promotion to Red Bull Racing was missing. But that was the whole point of the whole thing. Marco expressed that the team did not understand why Ricciardo wasn't performing at the same level today as he was in 2018, when he left Red Bull. If we knew why the performance was not as good as it should be, we would have done everything we could to change that. But the same killer instinct was simply no longer evident. He was famous for his uncompromising overtaking and braking at the last point, but that was no longer the case either. 3 laps before the end of the Singapore race, where most drivers managed a single pit stop, Ricciardo was called in for a 3rd tyre change. This move was largely praised as a strategic play by Red Bull's second team to deny a bonus point for fastest lap to Max Verstappen's championship rival, Lando Norris. Marco described Ricciardo's fastest lap as a fitting farewell performance. With the Ricciardo situation finally put to bed, Christian Horner has one less problem to think about for now. Moving on to a different Red Bull problem, one involving the FIA, Aston Martin star Fernando Alonso doesn't believe Max Verstappen deserved a penalty for swearing in a press conference. But he does think the Dutchman should be more careful about how he expresses himself at times. Many Formula One drivers rallied around Verstappen after the community service penalty. Even Lewis Hamilton advised Verstappen not to carry out the community service and suggested he wouldn't do it himself. But Alonso wasn't as eager to jump on the same boat, instead offering the Dutchman a word of caution. Spanish newspaper Marca quotes Alonso discussing the responsibilities that come with being an idol to many fans worldwide. He stated, "Things like that remind me that there are a lot of people watching us. If you are a driver or someone in the public domain, you are supposed to behave decently. So the fans can give you a lot of love, a lot of motivation, but there is also a big responsibility with what is expected of you. You have to be an example if you want to, and if you don't, you have to. If you want to say something that is not correct, you have to contain yourself and be politically correct. You have a responsibility to your fans and those people believe in you. Will Red Bull ever come together to produce yet another winning season? Or is their time finally up?" Tell us your prediction in the comments section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.